Andrea de Cesaris' career was weird. To start off with his junior career, he won some events in karting and did well in Formula 3 and Formula 2, and eventually graduated to Formula 1 for the last two races of the 1980 season with Alfa Romeo, in which he did phenomenally well. By phenomenally well, I mean having two retirements, one for engine failure and one for crashing. After this great start with finishing percentage of an awesome 0%, which team would hire Cesaris for 1981? McLaren, of course. Now, McLaren weren't the championship force like they were in the mid-70s, but were still a capable midfield runner. But why would they hire an almost rookie like Cesaris, who had never seen the checkered flag? Well, he had quite a few million in sponsorship from Marlboro behind him, and had drove for McLaren team boss Ron Dennis's team in Formula 2. This season went much better than Cesaris' last one, which isn't saying much, but Cesaris got his first point at the San Marino Grand Prix, but either retired or finished outside the point for the rest of the races. Over the season, he got the nickname Andrea de Cesaris, and crashed so much to the point that his team withdrew his car from the Dutch Grand Prix so that he couldn't crash it. With all of his crashes and a singular point contrasted against his teammate John Watson's collection of podiums and even a win, he was axed from McLaren at the end of the year. For 1982, he returned to Alfa Romeo, in which he started off the season strong with a non-points finish and then 4 retirements. But surprisingly, he got a podium finish at the Monaco Grand Prix, and 2 races later, took a point at the Canadian Grand Prix. The rest of the season wasn't exactly spectacular, with him taking 5 straight retirements and then 3 non-point finishes to cap off the season. Cesaris' 1983 season, in which he stayed with Alfa Romeo, was probably the best of his career, with him gaining a pole position at Long Beach and leading at Spa, but retired from both races. He still had 2 second-place finishes, but retired from 9 races over the season and only got 1 other point to finish. For 1984, Cesaris moved to Ligier. He got 2 point finishes in the first 4 races, but these would be the only of the season. He retired from 9 races and had 3 non-points finishes to cap off a mediocre season. He stayed with Ligier for 1985, where the season started off with a few retirements, until a strong 4th place at Monaco, which was then followed by 3 non-points finishes. He was then kicked out of the team halfway through the season after a crash at the Austrian Grand Prix in which he destroyed the car, even though he had generous sponsorship money. He then sat out the rest of the season. For 1985, he moved to Minardi for a dismal season, with not starting or not finishing any race until the penultimate one of the season in Mexico, in which he got a non-points 8th place finish. He finished the season with another retirement. For 1986, Cesaris moved to the Brabham team. He got 1 podium at the Belgian Grand Prix, his first one in 5 years. For the rest of the season, however, Cesaris retired from all the races, except 1 non-points finish. Brabham then pulled out of F1, so Cesaris went to the Real team for 1988. For the season, he got 1 point finish, a 4th place in Detroit. But for the rest of the season, he had 11 retirements and 4 non-points finishes. For 1989, Cesaris went to the Scuderia Italia team. He got 2 non-points finishes to start the season. At Monaco, he was on course for a podium before being taken out by Nelson Piquet. He retired from the next 2 races in Mexico and the US before gaining a podium at Canada, his last one ever. He didn't score points for the rest of the season, but at least he didn't retire much as normal. In 1990, Cesaris stayed at the Scuderia Italia team, in which he did not score a point all season and retired or did not finish 15 races. He only got 2 race finishes that season, and both were non-point finishes. One particular moment was when he got called an idiot by the commentator James Hunt when nearly crashing into Nigel Mansell. For 1991, Cesaris moved to the new Jordan team. He knew Eddie Jordan from Formula 3, and that's how he got the seat. He started out the season with a smattering of retirements. He got 4 points finishes and only retired 2 more times over the rest of the season. Cesaris then moved to Tyrrell for 1992 after leaving Jordan due to sponsorship conflicts, and had a consistent season, with retirements and non-points finishes with 4 points finishes sprinkled in between. He stayed at Tyrrell for 1993, in which he failed to score a point, and then retired from half the races that season. He then left Tyrrell at the end of that year. He started out in 1994 without a drive, but was called in for Jordan after Eddie Irvine was banned for 3 races for causing a crash. Eddie Jordan called in Cesaris to replace him for the 3rd race of the season and beyond. Cesaris retired for his return, but scored points with a 4th place finish the next race at Monaco. Sauber then signed him for the rest of the season, in which he got a point finish at his first race back in France, but ended his career with 7 consecutive retirements after that. Overall, Cesaris' career was quite a peculiar one. Cesaris holds the record for the most starts without a win at 208, and the one for the most straight non-finishes at 19, between a 1985 Detroit Grand Prix and a 1986 Mexican Grand Prix. When he originally retired, he was one of the most experienced drivers on the grid. Over his career, he retired a lot, and I mean a lot. He had 147 retirements out of 208 races, about 3/4. As his career winded down, you could see that his consistency improved, with him retiring from about 60 to 70% of the races at the start of his career, but at the end, only about 50%. He was able to get 5 podiums, but would have gotten a few more if not for reliability. He might have even won at the 1983 Belgian Grand Prix if not for a slow pit stop and engine troubles. To end, Chaz Rush was an interesting driver who had a rollercoaster career, one of the type we'll probably never see again.